She is standing in the middle of the living room, suitcase at her feet, lip split open, one eye swollen half shut, but her spine is straight, her chin is up, and her voice does not shake. I want my name back, Marcus. That's all I came to say. He laughs, a short, disbelieving sound, leaning against the kitchen counter with his arms folded, looking at her the way a man looks at something he owns that has suddenly started talking back. Your name, Sade. You don't have anything that isn't mine, including that suitcase. She reaches into her jacket pocket and sets a folded document on the glass coffee table between them, slowly, deliberately, like she is placing a chess piece. Not anymore. He unfolds it. His jaw goes rigid, his eyes caught up to hers, and for the first time in 4 years, she watches something flicker across his face that she has never seen there before. Fear. She picks up the suitcase, turns toward the door, and speaks without looking back, voice low and final as a closing gate. You should have let me be soft, Marcus. You turned me into something else entirely. But that moment, that suitcase, that document, that split lip, none of it arrived without a journey, and the journey begins the way most dangerous things begin, quietly, beautifully, with a man who knew exactly how to smile. Sade Osei is 32 years old and lives on the 14th floor of a high-rise apartment in Lekki Phase 1, Lagos, the kind of address that makes taxi drivers straighten up when they hear it. She is a product manager at a mid-sized fintech company, precise and warm in equal measure, the kind of woman who notices when a colleague looks tired and brings them tea without being asked. Her team calls her the steady one. Her mother always said, if kindness were rain, it would fall on Sade's roof first. From the outside, her life looks like an answered prayer. The apartment is stunning, cream walls, floor-to-ceiling windows, morning light that pours in like something sacred. She drives herself to work. She has a savings account she has been feeding since she was 24. She laughs from her stomach. She means what she says. And then there is Marcus. Marcus Adeyemi is the kind of man who makes a room tilt toward him. Tall, deliberate, a civil engineer with a government contract and a voice that sounds like it was designed for closing arguments. He calls Sade my person in public. He pulls out her chair. He posts her photo on her birthday with captions that make women cry in the comments. At every dinner party, every work event, every family gathering, he performs love so convincingly that even Sade, in the beginning, believes the performance is real. It is not. But she doesn't know that yet. The first time it happens, she explains it away before it even finishes happening. They are arguing about something small. She has forgotten what later, because small things have a way of vanishing beneath what they become. He grabs her arm, hard enough to leave a mark shaped like 4 fingers that she covers with a long-sleeved blouse the next morning and never mentions to anyone. He was frustrated, she tells herself. I pushed too hard. It won't happen again. It happens again. And again. And each time the gap between incidents shrinks just enough that she never quite catches her breath between them. He learns her patterns, when she's most tired, when she has just spoken to her mother and is softened by it, when her defenses are lowest. He is strategic the way only truly dangerous people are strategic. In public, he is magnetic. In private, he is a locked room with no windows. Sade stops wearing sleeveless tops. She stops calling her sister as often. She learns to read the temperature of a room the moment she walks into it. His jaw, his posture, the particular silence that means she has exactly 60 seconds to say the right thing or absorb the consequences of saying the wrong one. This is her life, polished on the outside, rotting quietly within. Then comes the afternoon that splits everything into before and after. She's at her desk, headphones in, when her phone buzzes. A message, a number she doesn't recognize, but the voice not attached to it is playing before she can stop it. And the voice is Marcus's, unmistakable, warm in a way he stopped being with her 18 months ago. Intimate, unhurried. I keep thinking about last Tuesday, Tell me you are thinking about it too. Shade pulls one earbud free, stares at her screen. Her face stays completely still, but beneath her desk, her hand finds the edge of her chair and holds it like a railing on a sinking ship. The message was sent to the wrong number. A glitch, a moment of carelessness from a man who had never once been careless where it mattered. She does not cry. She does not call him. She sits with the voice note open on her screen for 47 seconds. She counts them. Then she closes it, straightens her posture, and opens a new browser tab. She types 3 words into the search bar. Furnished apartment, Lekki. She does not know exactly how she will get out. She does not know what it will cost her or how far she will have to fall before she finds solid ground. But something has shifted, deep and permanent and irreversible. The woman who explained everything away, she just left the building.
Shade does not change overnight. That is the part nobody tells you about survival. It is not a single brave moment. It is 1,000 small, invisible decisions made in the dark. She starts with money. For 11 months, she has been quietly diverting a portion of her salary. Never enough to notice, never a round number that might catch his eye on their shared bank app, into an account he does not know exists. A first bank account she opened on a Tuesday lunch break, walking to the branch alone, telling nobody. 3,000 naira some weeks, 8,000 others. Once, after a particularly good product bonus, 45,000 in a single transfer, split across 6 days, so it looked like groceries and transport. The account has grown in the same silence she has learned to live inside. She also starts watching him differently, not with the eyes of a woman in love, and not yet with the eyes of a woman who hates him, but with the eyes of someone studying a lock, learning its mechanism, finding the gap where the light gets in. She notices when he is distracted. She notices when his phone stays face down on the counter for hours. She notices the name Nadine appearing in his calendar under the description site visit, twice in 1 week, on days when no construction site in Lagos would be running at 9 p.m. She says nothing. She files everything. Nadine Briggs makes her first visible move on a Friday evening at the firm's quarterly mixer, the kind of corporate event held on a rooftop bar in Victoria Island, where everyone is performing a version of themselves they practiced in the mirror. Shade is there because Marcus asked her to come. She stands beside him, glass of Chapman in hand, watching Nadine cross the room toward them with the particular confidence of a woman who has already decided how a conversation ends. Nadine stops in front of them both, eyes sliding to Marcus first, smile arriving a half-second too late to be accidental. "Marcus, you didn't tell me your wife was coming tonight?" Marcus straightens almost imperceptibly. A micro-adjustment, a man recalibrating, and drapes an arm around Shade's shoulder. "Nadine, you know Shade, my person." Nadine turns to Shade then, and the smile stays perfectly in place, but her eyes do something different, something assessing, like a woman pricing an item she intends to take off the shelf. "Of course, Shade. You look tired. This one keeps you busy, I'm sure." Shade holds Nadine's gaze for exactly 3 seconds, takes a calm sip of her drink, and smiles with every tooth. "Not as busy as you'd think." Later that night, in the car ride home, Marcus is silent in a way that hums. Shade watches the city lights blur past her window and understands, with cold and perfect clarity, that Nadine is not a threat to her marriage. Nadine is an exit door, and it is already swinging open. The second tension peak arrives on a Sunday morning 3 weeks later, and it arrives without warning. Shade is in the kitchen when she hears Marcus on the phone in the bedroom, voice low but not low enough, the particular carelessness of a man who has stopped being afraid of being caught. She does not press her ear to the door. She does not need to. 3 sentences drift through the gap, clear as daylight. "She doesn't know anything? Just give me 2 moments. She'll be easy to manage. She always is." Shade sets down the spatula, very carefully, the way you set down something fragile that you have decided you no longer want to break yourself trying to protect. She goes back to making breakfast. She plates his eggs. She pours his juice. She sits across from him and asks about his week. And he answers, and they eat together like two people sharing an ordinary Sunday. But inside her chest, something that had been bending for 4 years finally, quietly, snaps clean. She calls Kemi that afternoon from the car, parked 3 streets away from the apartment. Kemi picks up on the second ring, and the moment she hears Sade's breathing, her voice drops. "Sade, talk to me. What happened?" Sade grips the steering wheel with both hands, staring straight ahead at a wall painted with a faded cowbell ad. And when she speaks, her voice is completely level, which is somehow more frightening than tears. "I need you to help me find a lawyer. A quiet one. Someone who doesn't talk." A long pause, then Kemi, soft and certain. "I already know one. I've had her number saved for 6 months. I was waiting for you to be ready." Sade closes her eyes, exhales slowly through her nose. "I'm ready." But ready and safe are 2 entirely different countries, and Sade has not yet crossed the border. The third and most dangerous peak comes on a Thursday night when Marcus comes home from what his calendar called a late-sight meeting. And Sade, for the first time in 4 years, does not pretend she believes him. She's sitting in the living room when he walks in. Lights on, no television, just her, upright on the couch, hands folded in her lap. He stops in the doorway, loosening his tie, eyes narrowing as he reads the room. "Why are you sitting in the dark, like you are waiting for something?" She looks up at him slowly, and her voice comes out quieter than usual, which in their apartment they both know is the loudest thing she can do. "I spoke to a lawyer today, Marcus." The tie stops moving in his hands. His face does the thing it does, the shuttering, the recalibration. Then he laughs, short and sharp, dropping his keys on the counter. "A lawyer? For what?" She stands, slowly, picks up her handbag from the cushion beside her. "I think you know for what." He moves toward her, not slowly this time. What happens next leaves a mark she will carry for weeks. But it also leaves something else. Evidence. And somewhere across town, Kemi is already forwarding a WhatsApp message to a lawyer named Mrs. Adaze Nusu, with photographs attached that Sade sent from a bathroom, hands shaking, 40 minutes ago. The trap is not closing around Sade. It is closing around him. He just doesn't know it yet. The document Sade places on the glass coffee table that night is not a divorce petition. It is worse than that for Marcus. It is a 14-page affidavit prepared by Mrs. Adaeze Noso, containing photographs, medical records from a private clinic in Surulere where Sade visited twice under a false name, screenshots of voice notes, a sworn statement from Kemi, and a timeline of incidents spanning 4 years, dates, descriptions, locations, all of it documented with the quiet precision of a woman who knew, long before she was ready to leave, that she would eventually need proof. Marcus reads 3 pages before he stops. He sets the document down on the table, picks it up again, sets it down. His breathing has changed, shallower, faster, and when he looks up at Sade, something in his face has come loose at the edges. How long have you been? She stands perfectly still near the door, suitcase at her feet, and when she speaks, her voice carries the particular steadiness of someone who rehearsed this moment in a parked car for 11 months. "Long enough, Marcus." He stands abruptly, chair scraping back, one hand extended, not in violence this time, but in something almost worse, desperation. "Sade, listen to me. Whatever you think you know, we can talk about this. We can fix this. Just put the suitcase down and sit." She opens the front door. The corridor light spills in, pale and fluorescent and ordinary,
and she steps halfway into it, like a woman with one foot already in a different life. Nadine called me this morning. He freezes. She wanted to know if the apartment would be available by the end of the month. A pause. I told her she could have it. All of it. What Marcus does not know, what he will spend the next 72 hours discovering in the worst possible sequence, is how thoroughly the walls have closed around him. Mrs. Noso filed the affidavit with the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency 2 days earlier. A welfare officer made a quiet visit to Marcus's office building on Wednesday, asking routine questions that were not routine at all. 3 of his colleagues, approached separately, confirmed a pattern of behavior at work events that nobody had ever formally named before, but everyone had privately catalogued. And Sade's HR department, where Kemi has worked for 6 years, has a welfare policy that Sade invoked 3 weeks ago, triggering an internal process that does not require her to say a single public word. The machinery is already moving. Sade simply had to step out of the way and let it run. Nadine moves into the apartment on a Saturday. She arrives with a moving van, 3 girlfriends, and the triumphant energy of a woman who believes she has won something. She repaints the accent wall in the bedroom. She throws out the monstera plants Sade left behind. She tells her friends over wine boxes on the living room floor that she always knew Marcus was the one, that some women simply don't know what they have. She holds up her phone, taking a mirror selfie in the apartment's entry hallway, grinning wide. New chapter, she captions it. Her friends double tap. 6 weeks later, Kemi sends Sade a voice note at 11 p.m. Sade is sitting cross-legged on the floor of a studio apartment in Yaba, smaller than anything she has lived in for years, but flooded with her own choices. A second-hand sewing machine in the corner, fabric samples pinned to a corkboard, and a half-eaten bowl of jollof rice on the coffee table beside her laptop. She plays the voice note. Her expression shifts, not to satisfaction, not to joy, but to something quieter and more complete, like a door swinging shut on a room she will never need to enter again. Kemi's message is brief. Marcus's government contract has been suspended pending investigation. A separate matter, an audit, a paper trail that has nothing and everything to do with the kind of man who believes he is untouchable. His firm has placed him on administrative leave. The welfare officer's report has been escalated. And Nadine who wanted all of him, has filed a complaint of her own. 6 weeks. That is all it took for the man whose charm had held a room captive for years to show a new audience what he kept behind the curtain. Sade sets the phone down on the floor beside her, leans her head back against the couch, and stares at the ceiling for a long moment. Then she laughs, soft, private, not unkind, the laugh of a woman who is no longer surprised by the truth. She starts the tailoring business almost by accident. There's a woman in her building, mid-50s, retired teacher, named Mrs. Fashola, which is not her real name but what everyone calls her, who knocks on Sade's door one evening holding a torn Ankara dress and a look of absolute helplessness. Sade looks at the dress, looks at Mrs. Fashola, steps back from the door. "Come in, I'll fix it." She fixes it in 40 minutes. Mrs. Fashola tells her neighbor. Her neighbor tells someone else. Within a month, Sade has a waiting list and a business name she typed at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday, half asleep and entirely certain. Sade by herself. On a Tuesday morning, 4 months after she walked out of that 14th floor apartment, Sade registers her business with the Corporate Affairs Commission. She sits in a small office in Yaba with a form and a pen and a fee she pays from the account Marcus never knew existed. The CAC officer slides the certificate across the desk. Sade picks it up with both hands, reads her name at the top,
Printed, official, permanent. Her jaw doesn't tremble. Her eyes don't fill. She simply sits with it for a moment, holding her own name in her own hands, and breathes. The officer looks up from her computer. Any other business? Sade folds the certificate carefully, tucks it into her bag, and stands, shoulders back, chin level, the posture of a woman who has stopped making herself smaller to fit other people's spaces. No, she says simply, that's everything. She walks out into the Tuesday morning, into the noise and heat and ordinary chaos of Lagos, and she does not look back, not because the past does not exist, but because she has finally, completely chosen what comes next. Her name is Sade. She belongs to herself. What part of this story shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. The world will sometimes dress pain in beautiful clothes, a stunning apartment, a charming smile, and a man who says all the right things in public. And it can be so easy to mistake the packaging for the truth. But real love does not leave marks you have to cover. Real strength is not endurance. It is the quiet, terrifying, magnificent decision to stop enduring. Sade did not live in one brave moment. She left in 1,000 small ones. And if you are somewhere tonight, building your own exit brick by brick in silence, know this: the door exists. You are allowed to walk through it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And please tell us in the comment section where you are watching from.